Welcome. Today we're diving into the world of the best Spanish zombie films. In this list, you'll find both purely Spanish productions as well as multinational collaborations. Each of these films will bring you chills, suspense, and non-stop action. Ready for the apocalypse? Let's get started. Number 10. The Returned. A deadly virus is destroying humanity, turning people into mindless, bloodthirsty creatures. Scientists have succeeded in developing a drug that stops the transformation, but requires daily administration. Those who have already been infected are called returnees, and their lives depend on constant access to the drug. Kate and Alex live in the shadow of this nightmare. Alex is one of the returnees, and Kate, who is a doctor, struggles every day to get her hands on increasingly limited doses of the drug. Panic grows in society, and people begin to hunt the infected to eliminate the threat. Fear turns into hatred, and every moment without the drug can mean the transformation of a loved one into a ruthless monster. In this world where loyalty becomes a death trap, the struggle for survival turns into a game of time. Number 9. Wreck. In an old, neglected building in the center of Barcelona, a team of reporters sets out with a unit of firefighters on a routine call. However, what at first looks like a simple intervention quickly turns into a nightmare that no one expected. The building's occupants become violent, almost animalistic, and the people trapped inside witness unimaginable horror. The narrow corridors turn into a trap, and the darkness hides something terrifying. With each passing minute, the number of victims grows, and the few survivors discover that the source of evil may be worse than they thought. In this claustrophobic hell, the fight for life becomes a desperate race against time, and the only escape seems to be inevitable death. Number 8. La Hora Fria. In the cold, ruined world after the apocalypse, a group of survivors locked in a destroyed bunker struggle to survive. They can't go outside. There hides something much worse than death. The air is poisoned and beings lurk on the surface. Silent, inhuman monsters that are just waiting for a human error. Fear grows in the darkness of the bunker. Only the hum of generators and muffled sounds from behind the walls can be heard. But the greatest horror comes when people begin to disappear. Are they beings? Or is there something lurking among the survivors that should never survive? The nightmare waits in the darkness, and there is no escape. Number 7. Quarantine. Assume it will be a regular night shift. Reporter Angela and her cameraman are given the task of filming footage of the work of firefighters. At 2 a.m., they go on a call to a mysterious building. The entrance seems no different from any other, but behind the closed door lurks something that should not exist. The people who live there become beasts, literally ripping meat from the bone without a shadow of human emotion. Chaos erupts and escape becomes impossible. The government locks the building with 4 triggers, condemning everyone inside to certain death. What was supposed to be an innocent report turns into a nightmare as Angela and the rest of those locked up must fight for their lives, not knowing what lurks in the dark corners. Every corridor, every floor hides a deadly mystery, and the worst is still waiting for them at the top. Number 6. Wreck 2. Behind the closed doors of the old building, where the macabre events took place in the previous part, the light was never the same again. REC 2 inches draws us back into the dark corridors of the building, where evil has not died, but rather has begun to spread like a disease. A special unit goes inside, unaware that the monstrosities they find will exceed their worst nightmares. Instead of a simple task, their mission turns into a struggle for life in a world possessed by a demonic force. Each step deeper into the building is a growing nightmare, where the lines between life and death are blurred and their pursuers are hungrier than ever. Number 5. Valley of the Dead. In Spain's Valley of Death, during a brutal civil war, soldiers from both sides come face to face with something that has nothing to do with human conflict. Deep in the forests lurks something unnatural, something created from the dead bodies of the fallen on the front lines. Merciless and hungry, these creatures know no mercy, and their only goal is to satisfy their eternal hunger for blood. When two groups of enemy soldiers are forced to work together, they find that fighting the undead is more than a nightmare. It's a slow and inevitable death. Every step, every whisper in the darkness can mean the end, because in this valley there is no escape from the living dead. Number 4. Juan of the Dead. Unexplained, terrifying things begin to happen on the seemingly peaceful streets of Havana. People who have died suddenly come back to life, and their only goal is to hunt the living. Into the dark chaos enters Juan, a man with a sarcastic approach to life who has never shied away from trouble. But now he will come to face his worst nightmare, hordes of bloodthirsty zombies who know no mercy. Together with his friends, he decides to take advantage of this apocalyptic chaos and earn money by eliminating these monsters. As the fight for survival becomes more brutal, Juan discovers that the biggest monster doesn't always lurk in a zombie's body. Number 3. Rec 3. Genesis. Imagine a wedding that turns into the worst nightmare that no one could have predicted. In Rec 3 Genesis, it all starts with a joyous wedding reception that turns into a bloody massacre in the blink of an eye. Guests fall one by one as a mysterious infection spreads among them like wildfire. Each infected person turns into a bloodthirsty beast, and the young couple, instead of experiencing the happiest day of their lives, must fight for survival among the raging monsters. Despair and horror grow in the darkness and chaos as the only goal becomes escaping this hell on earth with their lives. Number 2. Extinction. When the world is engulfed by the apocalypse, 2 men and a little girl take refuge in a snow-covered, abandoned settlement. For years they have lived in silence, isolated from the outside world, which has turned into a nightmare. Every day is a struggle against hunger, cold, and loneliness. But something begins to watch them, something that has survived the cataclysm and evolved into something terrifying. Humans are no longer at the top of the food chain, and the new predator knows no mercy. The silence that was once their refuge becomes a harbinger of the horror to come. When they begin to hear screams in the distance, they know they are not alone. Number 1. Summer Camp. The film tells the story of 4 educators who arrive at an isolated summer camp to prepare it for children. It all starts innocently enough, but very quickly turns into a nightmare. A mysterious virus begins to infect the caregivers, turning them into brutal, mindless creatures who attack without mercy. The most frightening thing is that the infection works randomly. No one knows when or who it will get them, or who will become the next beast. Educators have to fight not only against the monsters they themselves turn into, but also against time. In this place where trust no longer matters, the only chance for survival is vigilance and brutality. The nightmare grows with every passing moment, and the specter of death lurks around every corner. That's it for our list of the best Spanish zombie films. Which one left the biggest impression on you? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next countdown. See you soon!